Last night I slept for only 4 hours and kept waking up every 5 to 10 minutes. If you want to know why, it's right there. But I've drunk 3 of these energy drinks, so hopefully I'll be of energy. Hey, what's up, SuperViewers? Brian Ellis Clark here in this SuperViewer where I watch and review movies in the theater. And this movie is RANGASTHALAM. I'm gonna pick up these cans. Yeah. So, quick, spoiler-free review. Oh, man, I'm feeling that energy. This is good. This is good. Because I already had espresso, and that didn't seem to help at all. Oh, man, this is a good film with really good actors, really great plot, intricate. The characterization is great. The quirk with the main character is paid off in many ways to its fullest extent. Ultimately, it was a really great experience. I don't know how to boil it down. I don't know what else I should add in this boiled down little quick spoiler-free review. But go check it out if you're interested in it. Do it now. Spoilers! I took notes while watching the movie. Here's page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, page 7.5. I would have tweeted all this stuff out, but there were people in the theater, so I wrote it down. But essentially, I've got 7.5 pages of tweets that I would have done, like I've done before when the movie theater is empty. But let's get going from beginning to end. This is not going to be like the last one. There weren't other movies that it was making me think of, and so there's not going to be like well-defined different portions where I talk about them. Also, that one I didn't have notes, so I wrote down all my thoughts after the film. So it was a little less linear, so I'm not going to be like, hey, this reminded me of these films, and then what I thought about the characters, and then what I thought about the story. I'm just going to go through it, beginning to end. Boom! Let's get to it. First, watching the film, it really felt like a real place with a vibrant community. That was literally my first thing. Feels like a real place and a vibrant community. These people and the town and the location and just everything felt like an actual everything that it was pretending to be. Or I don't actually know if the town actually exists. So everything the actors were trying to be, and the set designers and the costumers and everything, it felt very real, tangible. You could feel the texture of the town and the people. Liked it. And the corruption, immediately it was reminding me of a book that I read recently that I so recommend. The Dictator's Handbook, from like the very beginning with the president. When Chitababu accidentally destroyed Rama's shower, that was pretty hilarious. And this whole song where he's just thinking about her everywhere, and he's so that was great. I love that. I thought it was really sweet how when she was, I forget what it was called, but the bracelets, when he got her the more expensive one and paid for it, it was very nice. And then the first time it paid off, the hearing, is when those two guys like insult him and diminish her, or like make it seem like in his eyes and Chitababu's eyes, she's just some object or whatnot to mess with his date. That was great. And then when he went to fight the guys, and there was that moment, I mean, the fight was great and everything, but the moment right in the middle where he just takes the bracelets, gives it to her, and then goes back to fighting. Oh, that was one of the notes I had. Okay, I'm gonna like burn all these 3 energy drinks if I keep going with this energy, but it's too good. Let's just keep going. Oh, I'm getting hot because I had to turn off my car when I was doing this. Oh, and I love the second time that it paid off. I love that she proposes. How she does it too, and how he keeps trying to play it off because he sees that as an insecurity, his hearing. And the fact that he doesn't realize, it's great when he panics. And then when he goes to her house to sneak in, that entire single shot with the sound design, with like the humor of him messing up everything and thinking he's so sneaky, that was so great. And I just want to recognize now that she does slap him in front of the whole family, and I didn't mind it because it'll immediately correlate to something later that's a paradox. Anyway, you'll understand. And I just want to highlight that there is a slap from her to him now, so that when I revisit it later, it will make sense. But yeah, before we move on, that sound design. And the camera work, so good. With the hearing impaired sound design. Can't compliment it enough. This is a thing to promote a complaint-free world, but I realize the last 3 days I've been complaining a lot, so I haven't even been following it. I just explained that so that you won't be like, where'd it go? Even small details like that single shot of the guy who lost his land and went to commit suicide and him falling into the water, and then seconds pass and then Chitty goes in after him and it's just one shot. I love details like that. Small details, but I appreciate them. I can't exactly remember what led into this, but I did write down after he accidentally pushes her down, her face and song is amazing. Like the face she makes towards him. Oh, I know that I loved her song. Both of their big main first songs, great, so good. And I especially felt that if you thought his song was a little long, then her song being the same amount of time and attention to it kind of balances it out. So in the middle of her song, I really started to appreciate, and I love Priyanka Chopra, but I really started to appreciate that she was not some bombshell Priyanka Chopra type. Like, she doesn't have that hot smokiness, you know? In this story, it really worked that she wasn't that type of girl. Like, she's definitely attractive, but she feels real in a way where Priyanka Chopra, even though I love her, I saw both seasons of Quantico, would not have worked in this scenario or in this story. At least that's what I felt. And when she put on the Ray-Bans, I love that look for her. It was my favorite look for her in like the whole film. And along the lines of the Priyanka Chopra thing, she never seems like she's posing to look attractive. Like, as you can see by all these poses that are definitely very attractive for me to have. Yeah, it's not working. Ooh, one of my favorite sequences was when Chitty went after the debt collector and just beat the shit out of him, and especially when the town just was watching him. Just didn't stop him at all. They totally understood why. They had no reason to get in the way of it. They didn't join in, but they definitely like were drinking the Kool-Aid Chitty Baba was serving up. I don't know. They had no problem with Chitty doing what he was doing. Okay, so this is why I really wanted to focus on her slapping him earlier, because when he slapped her, I was like, too far. And then, you know, well, she did slap him, so all things being equal, I still thought it was too far. I can't change that, but I did want to recognize that she did slap him. But then after that, when they kissed, it didn't feel uncharacteristic. It just felt like there's these two dysfunctional people that are meant for each other, kind of thing. Like, do you agree with that if you've seen the movie? Do you agree with my assessment on that point? I would like an extra opinion on that. Oh, it's getting so hot in here. Menopause is a bitch. Oh, by the second time that he does it, the clean the glass of buttermilk move that the president does, total dick power move. Perfect dick power move to really just remind people who's in charge. Oh, it was a great detail, and I realized later pays off, but not there yet. After Chitty gets out of prison and he wants revenge still after being stuck there, I really saw some sadness in his brother's eyes, and that definitely informed and made sense as a motivator for the brother to run for presidential office, to kind of save his brother and do good for the town. But that was like the last straw. That was the thing that really motivated him to do it. If he had been thinking of doing it before but chose not to, or if he had not been thinking about doing it before, this is the one that really like sparked the light bulb above his head, if you get that reference. And when they show up to the president's house to tell him that he's running, the fact that they have those shoes on, great fuck you to the president. I really like that moment. And then Chitty knowing his name took it to another level. And as they keep going, I like that Chitty started showing growth by using the hearing aid, which he had previously like been against. But it's those small details that I really appreciate throughout the story, and didn't even like need to draw a lot of attention to it, but it was just nice. And actually I can't remember too much about the timeline of the hearing aid, because right with that note I said, who's the unconscious man? Because I had forgotten that tag at the beginning where he's racing and the guy who supported his brother's presidential run gets hit by the truck. So I can't remember if the hearing aid was used before, spoilers, because we haven't gotten there, but you know, this is out of order, this middle part, before his brother has been murdered, or after, when he is just, ooh, I like that detail now that I'm thinking about it, where he's like, hey, I couldn't hear my brother's final words, I'm never gonna be faced with that problem again. But anyway, I just wanted to say that in case someone was like, what, he wasn't showing growth. It was after everything dummy. I love that Rama's not shy about kissing him, even though he like thinks she should be, kind of like old gender stereotype. She's just like, mwah, I don't care, you know. And then like right from the beginning, you just feel that the guy who keeps twirling his hair, Kasi, is always going to be an antagonist. But then when Kumar, Chitty's older brother, goes to Kasi to ask for his support, he supports him. Oh, that was such a great moment. I love that. And not only that being a great moment, but it was even better because it was motivated by Chitty's action, his moral character, how he went after the debt collector. Unless I'm remembering that wrong, but it was because of what Chitty did, and I love that. And like Chitty can't hear, so he just assumes it's like an insult or he's hating on him again, but he, love it. And then that entire campaign trail song was great. It was heartbreaking in the middle when the aunt just lost faith, but then we got more people stepping in as ward members, and it's just that was another great one. They did really great work with the songs. I loved it. And then coming back to the dictator's handbook, when the auntie finally reveals what happened to the uncle, that the uncle hasn't been in another country, that he was a victim of the classic power moves for a dictator, to be murdered after opposing the reigning dictator. That whole scene was heartbreaking, but then at the end, when he's on the ground like I thought maybe he survived and he ran off, because she hadn't confirmed that he had been killed, and then that slice to the neck comes, and I was like, oh fuck. It made you think maybe he's still alive. Like, yes, he's not there, he quit, but he's still alive, and then sliced, dead. Oh, this movie does great work with cinema in just really milking tension for all it's worth, and then subverting your expectations, making you feel comfortable, and getting you again. Great work. Menopause break. And that montage of brutal assassinations was good too. This movie does great work with showing how the bad things are so brutal. Although one thing that didn't really make sense for me was why Chitty would take money from the president. Maybe I missed it, because sometimes the subtitles went a little fast. If you know why exactly, please tell me down below. I don't have a problem with it, because it led to, oh my gosh, one of the best scenes in the whole damn movie, which I literally wrote down as Chitty's "go fuck yourself, your money and your glass president." So good. So I don't mind that. Why did he take money? Because it led to that. But still, like, if you know exactly why, if I missed it, please tell me down below. I'd love to know. I can't tell by my writing if it's Roma or Rama. And then Roma's leaving the prepared wedding and calling her dad's bluff of drinking poison. I appreciate that so much. Little moments, it's just to remember. It's so good. And then after that great scene, the president beating his man to death. Another brutal attack. You just see it, and it's not even like the bad guy in Fast 5 killing his man. This is brutal. You feel it. It doesn't feel like just a placeholder scene to be like, yeah, he's definitely bad, don't worry. This felt like, oh shit. Fuck. If the montage of murders to people who tried to run against him didn't convince you, this concretely settles any doubt if this guy, this president, is a brutal dictator or not. Oh my gosh, that just, it was like, if you've seen it, you understand. If you haven't, you might not. But oh my gosh, was that, And then right back with another swinging like tone and feel when Chitty and Rama go to his house, but don't go in to share food, but they have their picnic outside, and then the entire family goes out to have dinner with their sister-in-law. It felt so good. And then the next scene was a interesting like one-off dance music number, just like the last movie I saw, where it just feels like it comes out of nowhere, kind of, you know, it doesn't have any relation, but it just makes you feel good. So with that last movie in my mind, I started being like, oh no, what's about to happen? What's about to happen? What's about to happen? Like, I started getting more worried than just enjoying the song. However, I did enjoy the song. Let's get into why! I said fun Dazzle Queen song, and it did make me nervous for what was coming, but I love the line, I've studied the weaknesses of men. Ah, so good. Especially since none of the men were like, what? They were just like, yeah, you studied and you're killing it. Like, oh, yeah. They were at her beck and call. I loved it. This next note I will call Chitty vs. the Sugarcane Harvesters. I thought it was super smart how Chitty knew that they were assassins because they had already heard of him. And he's so smart. He's clever. I love that about him. He's stubborn. He's self-conscious about his hearing, but he's still clever. He's still clever. He's not an idiot, and loved it. But then that whole assassination attempt in the field, that felt like a Steven Spielberg movie. Pure cinema. It felt like an E.T. type of scene where people are running through cornfields, and yeah, they said sugarcane harvest, so I'm sure it's sugarcane field or whatnot. I don't know. But with the flashlights, oh, so good. And then another way that the hearing comes back is that his brother cannot call to him. He cannot yell as loud as possible to get him because the murderers, the assassins, the would-be assassins would hear him first. And it really just ratcheted up that tension. Like before, it was funny and it came into certain plot points, but that was when it was like, oh my gosh, this 2.5 hour hearing thing is so paying off. Like, this is, oh, it hurts to know that he couldn't scream as loud as he needed to get Chitty's attention to save him. But ultimately, Chitty's rescue is awesome. The music is awesome. The camera work is awesome. It is such a good scene. I loved it. Seriously, this movie does not drop the ball, and I love it. You should check it out. And then when they're safe, the scene where he says, he cannot see and I cannot hear. That made me laugh. And just like a great movie, it made me laugh, made me feel comfortable. And then I literally wrote, the feeling of true love and the joke really fuck you up to his assassination. And then I just wrote, fuck, when it happened. Because it takes you by surprise. It gets you. You're tricked, and it's like, oh, you feel comfortable? Boom. It's not even a full scene. It's like a small moment that makes you so comfortable that you're not ready for it to come back and bite you in the ass. And then his not hearing the last words was heartbreaking. And there was a moment after that where I was recognizing that there have been a lot of single takes. The hearing aid one where he sneaks into her house, that was one that was obvious. But there are a lot of single takes that just feel unassuming, and there's nothing really to the scenes that say, this is special, this is why this is a single take, and this is not. It just feels natural. Like it's not some very obvious 6-minute single take. It's just doesn't need to, but it always works. And I appreciated that. It was very skillfully done. Like the DP and the director and everyone who's responsible for that, really good job. I loved it. And after Kumar's dead, I kind of expected Chitty to become like a last-minute replacement to run against the president, but that didn't happen. What happened was better than that. When Chitty went to go and just attack the president, and the people knew, and you just expect they'll either try to stop him or they'll go and look. But oh my gosh, after seeing what happened to their hope, the city came together, the town, the people came together, got their pitchforks metaphorically, and went and just trashed the fuck out of the president's home, and I loved it. I loved it. It felt like the best moments in a war film where like one guy is gonna go off and do what's right when no one else will, but then his band of brothers just comes with him and it's like a march. I literally drew an emoji with hard eyes after that. And then him not being there, I wrote shithead coward not being there. It like nourished me to see the town come together like that, but then him not being there, I felt malnourished, and then them caring for the body was heartbreaking. It was beautiful. It got you. This movie does so many things right. And then the heartbreaking hunt for the president. And the moment in that montage that really hit me was when Chitty's eating and he's just angry. You can see him tearing inside. And then his wife Roma is crying with him, seeing his anger just boil up. And I was just, I could see it. I've had that where you just feel like you're completely helpless. You just want to cry and just crawl away because you feel broken. They're so fucking good. And then when Auntie stepped up, that was the right move for the story. If Chitty did it, it wouldn't have been right. Wouldn't have been right. I expected it, but compared to Auntie stepping up to take the place that her husband tried taking, that Kumar tried taking, it was perfect. And then in the parade, when Chitty realizes what his brother was saying, that last word, that moment was great. But then it finally came full circle and it caught up. And because I had forgotten that first scene, that first tag of the guy getting hit by the truck, I was like, oh shit. And then I realized, and then that came full circle and he was like sponge bathing him, and that was very interesting with the intermission, how he was the only one hoping, how he was taking care of him. And it all came to this really powerful moment where it was milking it when he woke up. Like, I'm just going to recreate for you. It wasn't like it wasn't that quick. Like, he opens his eyes, not looking at anything. He could almost be dead. And then when they all gather around, could still be dead. Still not moving. Still nothing. And then he looks. And I was like, even a small thing like him waking up was not rushed. It was milk just to add tension. And I appreciated that. And then we see his brutal murder of the president. And that was great. It was so good. It satisfied you. That moment when I had felt malnourished before because the president hadn't been there. It felt good to see it. It was like therapy. And I'm sure it was the same for Chitty. And then this ultimate revelation of what the last word was that his brother spoke. And it was great. It really, really justified. If it hadn't been before, it justified the hearing loss. And it just brought it all around. And it was funny because he even thought that guy was going to kill his brother. And in a bittersweet, ironic kind of way, he did. But it added an extra flavor of not only torture inside him as a character, but a plot twist. Like, the murder of his brother's not enough, but you have these extra layers because of Chitty's hearing impediment. And that entire last scene where he takes revenge for his brother's murder. I don't care if you liked the reason that guy killed his brother or not, plot twist or not, but that entire scene, like, I could take it or leave it. The reason, it didn't matter for me, but the whole scene that ended up happening between them and then his murder was a great fucking scene. And like any great movie, as you're told in screenwriting, it got to the ending quick after that. And him leaving with his wife, them both going, you just felt good. You felt like you got taken on an emotional roller coaster. It tore your heart out, tore your heart apart, chewed it up, spit it out, and then put it back in your body. But then at the end, you're just like, that's what needed to happen. The bad guys paid for the bullshit that they did. That town will be better for it. And the crazy thing is, this is a 3-hour movie all in one town, except for like a couple of little things where they go out to get the guy's support, the party support, blah blah. But it felt rich. It never felt like we were stuck in one place. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you've gone through all these spoilers, I think it would still be a great experience for you to see it, even knowing all of this. Thank you. Thank you for this movie. I know you didn't make it, but this movie was so good. So good. I saw this movie like 3 or 4 days ago. I'm never usually this good. The notes helped, but this is, I gush over this movie. 4 days, weeks. I will remember that this movie was a great experience. Thank you, SuperViewers. If you watched all the way through, that's freaking awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being you. Unless you suck, but you don't suck because you got this. I'm trying out that as like an extra thing at the end. But yeah, what movie next? What did you think of this movie? Please tell me. There's a WhatsApp phone number in the description. Should have put that earlier. Anyway, hit me up. Remember, don't stop. And because I'm in my car and I'm actually sleeping in my car for the weekends, I'm not going to have the don't stop at the end. So I'm just going to say, don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. I'm messing up now. Don't stop.